What is a life hack that seems fake, but is a true lifesaver? Every male should know this. If you want to get rid of an awkward boner, flex any muscle in your body, maybe an arm. For a minute. The blood will rush to that muscle and away from your dick. Crisis averted. Don't be that awkward dude trying to hide an erection in public. Confidently rock a raging boner while flexing those guns for all the world to see. If you stand up too fast and your head starts to spin, rush blackout, tighten your abs as hard as you can and it'll help drastically reduce the head rush. You can also do it preemptively to help stop it before it even happens. Bold of you to assume I have abs. Splash some water your face. As a mammal, you have a diving instinct. So water on your face triggers a response. You wake up. There's more oxygen to your brain. You feel better. Plus your face is wet. If you get food grease stains on your clothes, cover the stain with dishwashing liquid. The stain will come off when you wash your clothes. Turn your device on and off before contacting tech support. And restart your computer regularly. Not a shutdown. A restart. Shutdown is now just a glorified sleep and will not solve your problem. When it is icy or going through somewhere wet, always have both hands free to break any fall. When working with a job you know has safety hazard, always be on the lookout. My co-worker broke her wrist because someone forgot to put the pallet in the correction location. Sometimes people are out to get you, or maybe not even thinking of you or your safety, so always got to have your own back. If your ring gets stuck on your finger, Windex will slide it right off. Worked at a jewelry store for 5+ years. Put Windex on anything. I saw a comment on one of these kinda threads that recommended gently rocking back and forth while pooping. I've never had any problems in the bathroom. But I happened to be sitting on the toilet when I read the comments, so I decided to give it a test drive. I was pleasantly surprised at how quick and effortless the whole experience was, and I haven't gone back to my old stationary techniques since. As a bonus, number 1 and number 2 now require the same amount of time in the bathroom. If you speed up your number 2, how do you rid it? Ever have a split butt knuckle? Some of us cold climate people know about it. Dry air plus tight clothing plus clothing layers equals a split in the skin at the tailbone. A split butt knuckle. The cure? Warm water bath with baking soda. Rinse. Pat dry, no rubbing. Dry with a hairdryer. Then apply a layer of Carmex. Cured overnight. Thanks for making me hyper aware of my butt knuck for the first time in my 32 years of life. If you have funky armpits and need to fix them fast, use hand sanitizer. I figured this out years ago when I remembered that the smell comes from bacteria reactions, which antibacterial hand gel kills stone dead. Instant results, and the medical smell lasts only a minute. Don't do this routinely though, as it's delicate skin and may hurt like hell if you've shaved them and have any nicks. You can do the Heimlich maneuver on yourself. Use a chair or countertop. Press yourself against it, right under your ribcage. And press down hard. Should force air up and dislodge a blockage. True facts. I am CPR read certified, and in our classes we were taught this. Our instructor actually said to just drop yourself on the chair rather than press, as the extra force from gravity can be helpful and any injury you might sustain will be better than choking to death. True lifesaver. If you are ever attacked by a dog, push your forearm into the bite. This pries the jaws apart and prevents them from clamping down. If a dog is attacking you, the best thing you can do is offer your forearm. Push as far back as possible. And then grab the dog by the scruff of its neck with your other hand to hold it. The dog is now functionally muzzled and you have control of its head. The sooner and harder you push into the bite, the less damage the bite will do. This is a good rule for human bites too. Just so you know. Push and don't pull. If dog attacks other person, approach from behind. Grab its ankles. Lift up and keep slowly walking backwards. Keep doing it until you can back into door or other obstacle to protect you. Dog is helpless meanwhile. Do not let go of legs before you have exit strategy. Source: wheelbarrowed a huge ass Rottweiler. Saving my GF and her puppy. It works. If you get a splinter that is still partially sticking out of the skin, put a drop of Elmer's glue on it and let it dry. When you peel the dried glue off your finger, the splinter will be stuck on the glue and pop right off with it. That rubbing alcohol removes chewing gum. I'd go through a 20-layer deep marketing funnel to get to that tip because it really does work. Also, wow. Thank you for all of the awards, nice Redditors. I completely forgot I left this comment and came back and my notifications had blown up. https://z-lib.org. This website has almost all the books. As a broke student, this has helped me immensely. If a man is in an accident, car, ladder fall, etc., and he gets an erection, don't move him. He has a spinal injury. As a paramedic, this is true. It's called a priapism and is associated with a mid to low back injury. Side note, unfortunately it might be his last erection. At what point do I stop blowing him? Expanding off of this as an EMT. If you see anyone fall of anything or get in a car crash and is on the ground, it's generally not good to move them even if they don't have an erection. Could still have a spinal injury or other broken bones. Move only if necessary. Put your onion in the freezer for 10 minutes before chopping it. It freezes the juices just enough to slow down the process of it turning into a gas, giving you a few minutes to chop the onion without tears. I learned this tip from a kids science show years ago and I haven't had to deal with onion tears since. So many people don't believe me, and then are genuinely surprised when it works. I've been a chef for over 15 years. This is good advice. Best advice is using a sharp knife. They slice through the cell walls instead of crushing them. If you're going to climb a ladder or work on your roof, wear a bike helmet. From the amazing book The Gift of Fear by Gavin D. Becker, a woman alone who needs assistance is actually far better off choosing someone and asking for help, as opposed to waiting for an unsolicited approach. The person you choose is nowhere near as likely to bring you hazard as the person who chooses you. Right? Double quotation mark. I've taught this to my children. If you're lost, find someone before someone finds you. I always tell them to find someone with a name badge on. That whole entire book is basically life pro tips. I had to read it in college and now I recommend it to everyone. If you're in college, don't buy your textbooks until you actually need to use them. I've saved hundreds of dollars by not buying required textbooks that we never used. Run your wrists under cold water or rub an ice cube on your pulse points to cool down all over quickly when you get overheated. It seems obvious, but I didn't realize it until last summer working in a warehouse with no AC. If you're having trouble staying awake in class at a meeting, see how long you can keep one of your feet lifted slightly off the ground. Class in 2 hours and I haven't slept at all. Perfect timing. This also works if you are trying to stop yourself from throwing up. I tried chewing gum to stay awake through a magnificently poorly taught Soviet literature 101. Learned that being woken up by choking on gum is super unpleasant. Nail polish remover gets permanent marker off skin. You know, in case someone draws a dick on your face. That's because lots of nail polish remover is acetone based. And that stuff is an amazing solvent. Sleep on big decisions. You think most clearly in the morning. And often after some time passes you realize you were about to make a big mistake. I swear my brain is completely different at night. I'm more creative, more bold, and more confident, so I'm really productive and good at stuff at night. But that also means that in the morning I'm often like, what was I thinking? If you feel suicidal or depressed, don't focus on hope. It is enough to just stay curious. Curiosity has the power to keep you alive far longer than hope ever will. Curiosity leads to engaging work and this leads to opportunity. I was in a very dark, very bad place in early 2018 and all that was getting me through it was that I wanted to know how Game of Thrones ended. During pollen season, Rinse your hair before bed. Otherwise you're just depositing pollen on your pillowcase every night and then rolling your face in it all night. And then multiply that by how many nights you use the same pillowcase. You're a genius. 4 out of the 5 people in my family have super bad allergies. I mean, like, the allergy tests came back with pages of stuff we're allergic to and long hair. I usually just change my pillow cover every other day during spring, but I'll try this tonight. Mosquitoes bites be gone. This hack is the most valuable thing I've learned in my whole life. Heat the back of a spoon with hot water. Then apply the back of the spoon to the bite. I usually do it twice for good measure. The spoon needs to be hot enough to keep on the skin without burning yourself. So test the heat before you press it down. Keep it on until the heat dissipates. Bite will stop itching almost immediately. Usually the bite completely disappeared within an hour. This only works with mosquitoes from my experience. This. Just to emphasize though. Check the heat. I made the mistake of making the spoon too hot and leaving it on a split second too long. Got a round scar in my arm now. Counting really slowly with the goal of reaching 150 is a decent way to fall asleep. If you have any thoughts during it, just let them play out. And if you forget what number you're on, just go from what you last remember. If you make any major movements, just start again. The goal is to force your brain into slowing down and not having any jerky motions or thoughts. And eventually reaching such a level of carelessness that you eventually fall asleep without realizing. Helped me quite a few times. Especially with rain sounds. Hope it helps some of you too. I try to count backwards from 200. I'm usually out before I reach 100. It gives my brain something to do while my body calms down, but it's boring enough that it makes my mind wander, so eventually I stop counting and fall asleep. Write a list and cross shit off when you accomplish the teensiest thing. It builds momentum. Sometimes when I do insignificant tasks that I previously hadn't put on my to-do list, like brushing my teeth or putting my pajamas in the hamper in the morning, I'll put it on my list just so I can cross them off. Definitely builds momentum. And it gives you a hit of dopamine. Get that brain drug. Create to-do list. Procrastinate the rest of the day. Repeat. 25% of 18 is the same as 18% of 25. Percentages are reversible and one is easier to figure out than the other one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Reddit videos.